This Week in Politics on KSFY. Good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Allen. Thank you for looking in on us tonight. Coming up here, insight from KSOO Radio's Patrick Lally on the races for governor and U.S. House here in South Dakota. But we will begin here with Sioux Falls City Councilor Teresa Stehly, an outspoken critic of former Mayor Mike Huther. Paul Tenhaken was sworn into office just 5 days ago. I wanted to know how Stehly feels about the changing of the guard. One of the things she told me, the next 4 years may see the public asking for a changing form of government.
My first loyalty is not to the developers. It is not to my fellow colleagues on the council. It's not to the mayor's administration. It's to the citizens.
We met up with Teresa Stehly at McKinnon Park, and our conversation quickly turned to the idea of city government being able to turn a new page with a new mayor.
People are very concerned about the secretiveness that has emerged out of our city proceedings. I have been concerned as well as a council member.
Stehly has served on the city council for 2 years and tells me during that time she felt that the council was an afterthought. And part of her concern deals with the type of government Sioux Falls has, a strong mayor system, where the mayor makes most of the decisions with a check and balance provided by the city council.
People say that a strong mayor form of government works when you have a responsive person in charge. But it's really, to me, it's too much power for one individual to have. And the council we have really been neutered, so to speak, in our ability to get something done and to set policy. We're supposed to be the legislative body, and we've been just shoved into the closet.
Which is why Stehly says she could support a movement that would switch the form of city government Sioux Falls is using to something else that she says could more evenly level the political playing field inside Carnegie Town Hall.
There is discussion in the undercurrent of our community of people saying we need to be looking at possibly a new form of government. And there's the city manager form of government. Of course, we have our old commission form of government. But I personally haven't felt for the last 11 years that the city council thing is serving me well as a constituent.
Which brings us to Paul Tenhaken, whom Stehly says has been gracious and open in his time as mayor-elect and now as mayor. Stehly says with this new administration comes some new attention from Sioux Falls residents who are waiting to see what Tenhaken will do and how he will do it under this strong mayor system.
We're going to go forward with a new mayor who is pledging to be open and inclusive, and he's already reached out to us. He's been so vocal and so responsive already. So if that can work, then I don't know that there'll be this movement to change things. But if it doesn't work, if there's not a change, I think you could see a petition drive coming.
A change Stehly is hoping to see in the coming days and months, city councilors having more of a role and more of a say in how the city spends its money and what the city spends it on.
I'd like to have a little more input into these discussions as to how we're spending things. Right now, the department heads do it all. And again, we're just at the very end, we sign the check and it's a done deal. I'd like to be more involved in that.
Over her last 2 years on the city council, Stehly says the council, instead of being a check and balance on the administration, has been asked to rubber stamp what the mayor's office deemed to be priorities. Stehly hasn't felt good about that and says councilors should be in a position to provide more oversight.
We had the golf course contract, very contentious. Very contentious. We've had that multi-use parking ramp, knowing who the developers are, knowing the inner workings of who the foundational investors are going to be. We've had the event center siding issue coming to the forefront. So there have just been a lot of issues that I don't feel I've gotten to have enough information on to make an informed decision.
Stehly is hoping for increased decision-making power at a time when the city council is facing more than $300 million in debt, and at a time when the city has seen a slowdown in sales tax revenue, which puts the city in a precarious position when it comes to thinking about the future.
I will tell you, Brian, the big thing is going to be paying for the projects that we've just launched on. The administration building, $25 million, going to be about, I believe that we said it's going to be like $1 million bond payment a year. We've got the event center, we've got the parking ramp to pay for out of user fees. So I think we're going to be having to kind of crunch things down and stay within the guidelines of the budget, making hard maybe decisions on priorities.
City Councilor Teresa Stehly spending some time with us tonight. Up next on This Week in Politics, KSOO Radio's Patrick Lally and his thoughts on two key South Dakota races, governor and U.S. House. We will be right back here on KSFY.